Howdy y'all, Christy here with Little Salty Homesteader. If this is your first time joining me, welcome. If this is not your first time, welcome back. I'm so glad that all of you are here. I am a gardener in Zone 8A in North Texas, and I am entering my 4th season gardening, and it's kind of an exciting time. I'm sort of planting the garden and getting things ready to go for the spring and the summer season, and it's just a really exciting time for gardeners right now, at least in the northern hemisphere. I think the southern might be backwards from us. But anyway, what I wanted to talk to you today about is something that's a little bit nerdy, but I think it's going to be super interesting, and I think that it's going to help me for future garden plans. So for those of you that don't know, my day job, my corporate job, is as a data analyst. I have 2 college degrees in data analytics, so it's something that my brain is always kind of, thinking about in some way or another is data. And one of the things that I'm working on right now for work is a certification, and going through the material for it inspired me to do a data analytics project in regards to the garden. And what I want to do is try to figure out the best tomato for my family. I know every family is going to have a different answer, a different reason for why they say that, how they figure it out. That's fine. I'm trying to figure it out for my family. I know that that's going to come down to actually 2 different tomatoes. The first one is just going to be, regular eating, snacking, sandwiches, just pull it off the vine and it's ready to go, no processing. And then the second one is going to be for processed tomatoes, whether I'm making salsa or I'm canning them into something, dehydrating for whatever reason. I want to know what 2 tomatoes I need to grow the most of next year. So I am going to be doing a project. I'm going to be gathering a ton of data in regards to the varieties that I'm growing this year, and it's going to start with anything from the variety to the soil that I'm starting the seeds in, germination rate, the production of the tomato, weather conditions, any sort of disease issues, and then I'm going to do a flavor profile of the tomato and then like a texture profile of the tomato. So for flavor profile example, is it sweet? Is it smoky? Does it have a deep rich flavor? Is it really bland? Things like that. For the texture profile, does it have too many seeds? Is it really meaty? Is it really juicy? Is it actually kind of mealy tomato that with like a thick skin? Is it going to be too difficult to process? So those are things that I'm going to be taking into consideration whenever I do this analytics project. I'm going to be tracking the weather, whether it's raining. I'm going to be tracking how often I need to water myself with water from the water hose. I will be tracking the soil that I plant in, the date that I plant it, the date that I transplant it, how much I harvest, and on what dates that I harvest. So if like June 1st I harvest 6 pounds of whatever Italian heirloom tomato, then I'm going to keep a record of that. And then if June 7th I harvest 2 pounds of my Pawpaw's variety of cherry tomatoes, I'm going to record that. Now, I completely understand that 2 pounds of cherry tomatoes is going to seem like far more than 6 pounds of the big paste or Oxheart variety tomatoes. So I am also going to make sure that I have really good notes on what type of tomato it is. And then I am also going to track the characteristics of the tomato. So whenever you're researching, whenever you're buying tomato seeds, you might be looking for something that's supposed to be heat or humidity tolerant. I'm going to write that as far as the characteristics of the tomato. So to do this project, it's going to seem like a ton of work, but I'm going to use Google to help me with some of the research parts of it. To do this project, I'm going to be tracking all of this data within spreadsheets. So I'm going to have the tomato type. So is it like a cherry? Is it a slicer? Is it a paste? Is it a beefsteak? I'm going to have that type. I'm going to have the brand or the company that I purchased the seeds from. Then I'm going to have the seed name. And then I'm going to list out different characteristics. And then all of the planting and the growing and the harvesting and the weather information and water, pests, fungus, disease, all of that stuff is all going to be tracked within Excel spreadsheets. Then I'll take all of those Excel spreadsheets and I'm going to build a small tomato database, because if this project works out well, then I can continue to add on to it in future years and really narrow down the best tomato varieties that work for my family. So instead of me growing 30 different types trying to figure it out, just winging it, then I have a really scientific way to do that. And then, you know, I also want to do like a flavor rating between me and my husband tasting the tomatoes. My kids don't really like them, so they're not going to care. Maybe I can get Logan to play along, but I'm going to, you know, on a scale of 1 to 5, how would you rate the flavor of this tomato? And then I will record that as well for both him and me and whoever else I can get to help me taste test these things. Maybe I'll recruit my mom. Hey mom, you want to eat some tomatoes? If this works well, I can add on to it in future years. I can also do a similar project in regards to peppers, and then as I start to grow more things, I can do the same thing for cucumbers or squashes or okras or basil varieties. All of the different things that we grow, I can turn it into another project for cooler weather crops, kale, broccoli, cabbage, all of those things. I can really try to use a scientific approach to figure out the things that are going to work best for our family, rather than trying to grow 40 different varieties of every little thing to figure it out. I am going to work on creating the Excel spreadsheets with just the sheets and then the column names. I will have blank copies. If you feel like this is a project that you may want to participate in for fun, just to see how it works for you, drop me an email. I'll email you those spreadsheets. We can do it in like a Google Doc form, or we can do it, or a Google Sheets, excuse me, or we can do Excel, either way. So if this is something you want to participate in, do on your own, let me know. I'm really interested to see if anybody else has done like this really big type of scientific approach to figuring out the best tomato for their family, other than just, you know, this one tastes good or this one cans really well. There's a lot of things that go into making a really good tomato. Does the plant really give you enough bang for the buck? You know, does the plant work with your weather conditions? Are you able to fight off pests and fungus and disease? And, you know, does it really check off all of those boxes? And that's really kind of hard to wing it. So that's why I'm hoping to do this big project to try to figure this out. I told my husband about it this morning and I was like, hey, you want to know why I'm a nerd today? And, you know, usually it's something off the wall like this. And he's like, okay. But he always embraces whatever crazy idea I have, and he actually thinks that this makes a lot of sense because gardening is a lot of work. It does take a lot of time. So why not devote the time and the work into growing the things that are going to work the best for you? So yeah, if you can think of different flavor profile characteristics that I need to include, please comment them below. If you can think of like the texture type stuff as far as like preserving and canning, you know, I know you want to look for a really meaty tomato that doesn't have a lot of seeds, possibly a thin skin that will remove easily, but we don't want it to be so thin it cracks easy because it's hot here, and you know, so any of those sort of descriptors that I can include in my spreadsheets, please comment them below. I will comment back, and you know, I really appreciate any help that I can get. Like I said, if you're interested in doing this crazy project with me, please drop me an email. My email address is in the is in the description box, and I will get the forms or the spreadsheets sent over to you, workbooks, whichever way you want to do it. I do still have some of the free seeds available. Somebody did reach out to me via email, and I'm going to get those sent out very soon. But I still have lots of others left. If you are interested in those, you can email me as well. I'll just send pictures of what I have because it's a lot easier than just listing it out, because I think it turned into like 40 something packets of seeds. So all of that being said, I'm really excited to do this project. I thought about it a lot. I kind of decided on it a few days ago whenever I was working on this certification course, and then as I'm working more and more through the course and you know, learning more detailed things than I knew before, it really kind of really inspired me to really want to do this project. So I've just been nonstop thinking about it for a few days. I really was thinking about it hard yesterday. Started doing listing down the things that I wanted to list in the spreadsheets, and then I'm going to work on getting those created up. So I am really excited about the project. If you want to do the project along with me, please, I will email you the workbooks, and I hope that it is valuable to you. I really feel like it will be valuable to me, especially since I don't have the biggest growing space. I can't just continue to grow 40 varieties for the fun of it. I mean, I can, but the point in growing food is to not rely on the grocery stores so much. So I need to start thinking about how it works, how that space is going to give me the best thing that works for me. So I need to think about those tomatoes that I can that I can dehydrate, that I can turn into salsa. Because just because that tomato tastes amazing on a sandwich doesn't mean it's going to translate well into salsa. Trust me, I know, and that's part of the reason why I'm doing this experiment, because I grew a lot of tomatoes last year that tasted so good, but then whenever I went to turn them into salsa, the salsa was too sweet and it killed any sort of a spice level, and I just had to keep adding peppers and keep adding peppers and keep adding peppers, which isn't the best use of your harvest. I mean, yes, I had enough peppers to do so, but it's not the best use of, you know, whenever you're having to use more than you would normally have to use if you had a better variety of tomato for what you're making, then it's not the best use of what you're growing. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. How can I use my space the best to give us the best of what we need it for? So that is all I have for today. I'm really excited about this, and I wanted to make a video about it because I think that data can be used for good. Sure, there are absolutely circumstances where data is used for bad, like, you know, you say something and then all of a sudden ads start popping up for it. I don't think that is the best use of data. But I think in this case, using your data to figure out, to solve this problem of how can I do my best for this particular situation, I think is a good thing, because it's for you, it's going to affect you and your family, anybody you may share these things with, you know, things like that. So that's all I have. I hope you guys are having a wonderful new year so far. The weather here today is going to be amazing. Really warm for January. I think it's going to be 83, 84 degrees. So I actually have my pepper seeds outside. The ones that I planted the other day, they're hot peppers. They're still in their domes. They haven't germinated yet. I just have them outside because the weather is perfect for it. I'll bring them in whenever it cools down or whatever. So I hope you guys are starting to plan your gardens, and you're looking forward to this garden season, and you're figuring out ways to make it fun for you, because once the work really sets in, it's really hard to stay motivated. So find a way to make it fun for you. This is going to be my fun, even though it's a lot of work too. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time.